What is going on, my wonderful people? Welcome back, back to another reaction video. And today we're doing NF Intro from the Mansion album. That is so much better, but still really high. Why is that being the way that it is? Doesn't matter. So, last time we did All I Have, and that really killed me. It got to me. But today we are doing Intro because it's the beginning of the album. And I needed to start somewhere. And, so we're going back to the beginning. And I'm a little bit out of order. You know, I'm like The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. You know how they Lord of the Rings and then they did The Hobbit, or like Star Wars started 4, 5, 6, then went back to 1, 2, 3, then they went to 7, 8, 9. I'm just messing the timeline up altogether. But let's go ahead and jump into it. If this one makes me cry, I'm done with all of y'all. But subscribe and like the video. Let's jump into it. Oh, okay. Definitely different already. Real quick, I gotta say this real quick. My friend, some of you may know him as Captain Irish. My friend Steven looks a lot like this dude. I don't know if he knows that or not. Maybe he does, but he reminds me physically a lot of him.
I'm looking like I'm gonna get it, you probably don't get it. I come in your house with a microphone looking like I'm about to set up a show in your kitchen. I'm out of my mind, but I feel like I'm in it. If I never make it, don't make any difference. I'm stuck in the killer, you know what the deal is. I never know challenge when I'm in the building, and if it's a monster, I am a villain. My music is sick and you don't know what ill is. You better get back, I don't write any filler. I write what I feel and I'm feeling a million, so you better be quiet, you hear it? I'm about to lose it. I'm on a whole different level of music. Don't treat me like I have no clue how to do this. You better rethink what you're thinking and move. Now picture me writing when I was a kid trying to make it in music. I think it is crazy. I spend all my money on studio time trying to get on my music so people could play it. Keep it 100, my music was terrible.
I feel that all over, man. I remember going to so we had this before I even knew what I was doing when it came to recording. It legit, there was this studio, it's not there anymore, and all they did was, hey, if you want to record a song on a karaoke track, come in and we'll record you for $10. And I remember being like, oh, okay, I'm grabbing all these karaoke tracks from YouTube, and I'm going to take them to the studio. And it was cool. I mean, it had a booth and everything, but the engineering was trash, man. It was awful, but it was where I started. And I was like, if I go back and listen to those, I'm like, man, what? They were ripping people off for $10. It was like, it basically it was a condenser like this, condenser mic like this, but the quality was trash. It sounded like we were like back in the 50s. And maybe that was the aesthetic they were going for, but I don't think so, because I went down to Memphis. I'll get back to this here in a second. But he said the line about recording so people would hear me, and I'm like, that's what I did. And I went down to Memphis for my 18th birthday, 17th or 18th birthday, with a group, and I was able to record at Sun Studios, or Sun Records, where Elvis recorded. Let me lower my mic just a little bit. Where Elvis recorded, and it was definitely an experience because, you know, to do that, but it was the same principle. It was, hey, here's a karaoke track, go ahead, we're gonna record you. And that's what it was. And it was just like, the quality's not great, but that was more of a novelty thing, because you're at this studio where Elvis started, but the studio here in town just was trash. And then I met one of my mentors, who sadly has passed away, Lou Whitney, in downtown Springfield, and he had his own studio, and that was legit. But it also had an older sound. He didn't believe in doing digital. It was all like still old school recording. And then I finally found Varakis Group back in 2019, and the way they ran things was completely different. It was definitely new age, and I'm still friends with the owner, Kevin Dunn, and that's an experience. We recorded a cast album with him. I recorded a couple songs with him, but honestly, on the recording part of it, I took the initiative in 2010 to kind of teach myself how to do it, and here we are. Here we are. So let's continue. It kind of went off the rail of where he was going with that. I apologize. I didn't want to interrupt that, but that's what he said. I'm like, man, I've been there. To go into like saving your money to go into a studio to record.
Learn to get better than one that I made. Go back to my moments album.
Go back.
People, you probably don't know what I'm saying. Hold up.
Let's go back.
Keep it 100. My music was terrible. Learn to get better than one that I made. Go back to my moments album.
Music was terrible. Man, I get that too.
People, you probably don't know what I'm saying. Hold up. What you witnessing now? Don't try to figure me out. I grab on that microphone, jump in the crowd. They was laughing at me. Who they laughing at now? Huh? I laugh at myself. Some people, they looking like, wow. The moment you told me that you was a rapper, I couldn't believe it. You believe it now? Step in the booth and a murderer. You never heard of a rapper that killer like I do. I sleep on the couch in the studio, stay up to 3 in the morning and write till I get more. The moment I wake up, I feel like I don't even sleep and I'm ready to put on my record. Thank you for buying. Maybe you burned it. But either way, I'm gonna wreck it. Look at the industry, look what it did to me. You'll never make it if you never grind. You put a whole lot of money into it. You better be ready to give it your time. Look at the past over years of my life and I promise you I've been giving it mine. Try to keep up with this, I'm not a puppet, no string on my back. I'm one of a kind. Music is changing, no way to tame this. I am an artist. Look what I painted. Hang up the caution tape, I'm dangerous. Does anyone know what my brain is? Rappers are comfortable knowing they're famous, but I really don't care what your name is, and I really don't care if I'm nameless. Y'all just driving around. I know what my lane is. I keep on competitive. This is a job for me.
Yep, I know who I am, man. Like, I'm gonna make a note real quick though. I'm gonna go back. The caution tape makes sense now. Like, I just kind of got entranced for a minute. So let's go back a little bit.
It's changing, no way to tame this. I am an artist. Look what I painted. Hang up the caution tape, I'm dangerous. Does anyone know what my brain is? Rappers are comfortable knowing they're famous, but I really don't care what your name is, and I really don't care if I'm nameless. Y'all just driving around. I know what my lane is. I keep on competitive. This is a job for me. It's adrenaline. Don't try to box me, and I am there. Whether I'm in the ring, my punches are weapon. I never drink, but I live in these bars. The moment you blink is the moment you lost. Say you a king, who put you in charge? Care what you think? I'm breaking your car. Climbing on top of it, sounding your alarm, and wake up the neighborhood, rapping your yard, and carry the speakers up under my arm. So you can sleeping on me, I'm at large. No matter jokes, I ain't joking.
Man.
You come in the session with me, I'ma show you what dope is. And when I say dope, I ain't talking about smoking. I'm talking about music that has an emotion. I look at this mic, it's part of my family. Take it away, I'm coming to find you. I've been through a lot of my life, and it's hard to get people to listen when no one's behind you. And then Capital came in the picture and gave me a shot. And look at it now. I look at the team I'm dealing with. These people ain't playing around. Looking back, I got a lap. I was in a whole different place a year ago. I look at the math, I look at the map, and thank you God, I swear it's a miracle. And I'm sorry, but I gotta leave. But man, this track was beautiful. The least I can do if I murder a beat is take the time to go to his funeral.
Okay. All right. So that definitely was the intro. That's where this thing is starting. And it starts hot. That's all I'll say. It starts hot. This one didn't get me as emotional. I mean, there's some things that I relate to, like, saving up money to go to the records, to go record so people will hear your music. The thing was, and he even said, man, like, my stuff was garbage. And it's like, it was garbage. Man, here I am thinking, back in 2007 or 8, I'm going to get some money and go record. And then, or no, 2000, maybe it was 2009, to go and record. And then you get it and you're like, oh, man, it's kind of trash, isn't it? Like it's trash. And not just because the production was bad, but because I was bad. I wasn't at my game yet. I wasn't at the top. I wasn't where I belonged. And so here we are in 2023. And I feel more purpose now than I think I did then. I was a senior in high school when that went down. When I saved up that money to go record at this karaoke studio, thinking that, oh man, it's gonna be the biggest thing in the world, man. I'm gonna have this like cover album and people are gonna love it, and it was trash. And then to go record with Lou Whitney and to record 2 albums with him. One of them was a smaller one, and then to do a full album, it was a cover album still, but to do that and to get pointers and whatnot, we spent all day. We spent all day in that studio recording that album, and I think we paid him. I think he did it for like $100, like out of his own time, like $100 to record that album. That is somewhere lost in all my stuff that probably no one will ever hear again, because here I am doing my own thing now, writing shows and new music and trying to tell stories based off franchises that I enjoy, or telling stories based off my life, and or things that I see, or people that I know. Where I started in 2009 at a karaoke shop, I have to look at myself now at 2023 and be like, you are way beyond where you thought you were. And you thought you were at the, you thought you could walk into the room and people would know who you were. No one knew who I was. No one still. There's 1,100 of you guys in here. 1,100. There are people in Springfield who just found out about me last August when we did Don't Lose Sight. There were people like, what is this? Who is this guy? What is going on? When we did Don't Lose Sight, it changed the game. It changed the game. And there were so many pitfalls in that show. So many things in that production that went wrong, to casting, to the actual way we had to do the show, to songs having to be cut. And it's for me at the time in my head, I'm like, no, this is a failure, but it wasn't. I had to look back at where I started, and where I started was a failure. And today I have connections. We went down to Georgia a couple weeks ago, and I got to shake the hand of Dan Cathy. I got to shake the hand of Michael Copon. I got to shake the hand of one of the top casting directors in Georgia. 2009, 18-year-old Tyler would have never have thought that he could have had that opportunity. He never would have thought. He had dreams of becoming a Broadway actor. He had dreams of doing this, but he never would have thought. Never would have thought. I'm going to shake the hands of one of the richest men in the country. I'm going to shake the hands of one of my childhood heroes. I'm going to shake the hands of a person who could get me a job, a job acting. That happened. I'm here. I'm the one who lived it a few weeks ago, and it still blows my mind that this hand shook those men's hands. It's crazy. It's crazy to think when we're in the moment at the time, we think that we're either the best we're ever going to be or we're the worst. I'm going to tell you right now, 18-year-old Tyler thought he was cream of the crop. And then when he kept getting denial, that's when the game changed. And that's when I started, was like, you're going to do this for yourself. You're going to start writing shows for yourself. You're going to learn how to write lyrics. You are not going to cover people's songs all the time. I still cover from time to time. But I remember there were two people in my life that I remember this wholeheartedly. And then there are more people now. My best bud, Quentin, went off to the Philippines. I was working on a show called YouTubers. And it was like a Newsies modernization. Except rather than Newsies, they were YouTubers. This is before the whole adpocalypse thing happened. My friend Kevin and I had this concept and idea of what if YouTube started charging? What if YouTube started cracking down and having all these restrictions, and they may, if you weren't a high enough YouTuber, you weren't going to get paid, or you had to pay in. And it was crazy. We kind of foresaw that happening with this story. But I remember a couple of days before Quentin left, he said, you can write your own music. You can do it. Stop doing other people's work. And it bothered me. I remember so much. I was like, I can't write music. This is all I can write. I can write dialogue. That's all I can do. And I'm just going to interlock these songs. And then my friend Grant said something similar too. He says, stop covering other people's music and write your own song. I was like, what are you talking about? People love these songs. I'm just going to sing them myself. And I was trash. Not that the covers were trash, but it was I wasn't putting myself into these songs. I wasn't putting myself. I was just taking something already made and then redoing it. So because of those two people, and a lot of rejection. I'm at where I'm at now. You know, I wrote a parody based off the animated fairy tale. I wrote a musical inspired by my life and my wife's life. I wrote an updated version of that a year later. I wrote a Nightwing radio play that had a original musical number in it. And then I wrote Don't Lose Sight, which was it wasn't even inspired. It was the conflict my wife and I had through the pandemic, through our marriage. Put that out there for the world to see because I led to do that. I also wrote another Christmas show that never saw the light of day, and that's a long story too. I could talk about it in another video. But 18-year-old Tyler would never have thought that I would have produced 5 shows that I wrote. Never in my life did I ever think I was going to do that. I know that's not what fully this song was about, but that's what hit me the hardest. Was we start somewhere, and we just gotta start somewhere, and we could be trash, we could be the worst thing ever, but through perseverance and working hard and making it, it's not about so much everyone knowing your name. You know your name, but it's about where you go. It's about that journey. It's about giving that to Christ. For me anyways, like I could not get to where I'm at without God. Truthfully, I owe him so much. But yeah, man, I've talked too long about this one. This was a shorter song. The video was cool. I like the caution tape. But we're not quite to that hope quality yet on the video. So I'm really interested to see where this goes. Happy keeps popping up. And one of you suggested I watch Happy. I'm going to get there. But I'm going back to Mansion first. And we're going to see what happens. I think Mansion's the next song anyways. So we're going to see where that goes. But let me know in the comments below. What do you think of this reaction? What do you think of this song? You know, we're going to take this hopefully day by day. So there might be a new one out every single day. We're going to go through the whole catalog because that is what you guys have recommended, because it is a journey, and I'm learning that it is a journey. It's definitely a journey. But anyways, there's something in my eye, and I shouldn't be rubbing it, but it itches. I don't know what it is. But I have a lot I got to do today, so I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry if that pops in your ear. But anyways, I'm going to go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.